was so beautiful. Thank you, Marianne. Buenas noches, bienvenidos y feliz Navidad. Good evening, welcome, and Merry Christmas. Thank you. And a happy Hanukkah to all who are celebrating Hanukkah tonight. I'm the Reverend Katie Romano Griffin. My pronouns are she and Asia, along with Savannah and Liliana Kennedy, Diane Kennedy, and Sarah Cannon, our Director of Children's and Community Programming, who all have the pronouns she, her, and John Murphy, whose pronouns are he, him. We are your worship team on the chancel today. A huge thank you to tonight's musicians, our ushers, greeters, AV team, and all of the volunteers and staff. And oh my gosh, Peggy out there in the cold, making sure we're getting into the parking lot safely, am I right? Thank you, and thank you to all of you for taking the chance to be with us tonight in person and online. Marion County is in low COVID risk according to COVID Act Now, so masks are technically optional in the sanctuary, but I also raise that it is high flu and RSV season. So you are welcome to remain masked now and always. In this moment on our shared journey, may you feel witnessed and honored whether you are in person or online. And may you remember that whether you are here for the first time or the 1,000th, whomever you are, whomever you love, whatever your ability, beliefs, gender, political affiliation, or documentation status, you are welcome here, and you are never alone. Let us now greet and welcome our neighbors. We will return to the sound of music. Calling all who cannot wait any longer for joy, for hope, and for some good news, even a little. The time has come. The waiting is over. Here in this time, we have an old story to tell, one that has been shared over and over for thousands of years, but still somehow it remains unheard, still radical and risky. Breaking through into these days of darkness, cold, division, and fear, interrupting the perpetual stories of violence and loss and the feelings of powerlessness into the errands and errors of our everyday, Christmas arrives, not only to comfort, but to awaken, to reassure, and also to stir us up as a new life, a life of peace and justice and courageous love, which struggles to be born. Wondering if we will yet be the ones who make room in our lives and in our world for the refugee, the poor, the plain and messy sweetness of a newborn baby. If we will take the journey to Bethlehem, if we will be changed by the presence of a love that meets us where we are in the fields, wherever we lay, and calls us forth into a new journey, a braver and bolder life, believing that it is not too late for strong and gentle people to win, for compassion and truth to have the final say, for the bright light of hope to shine through even on the darkest night. Come, let us celebrate the good news of Christmas, and let us worship together.
The ritual of lighting our chalice reminds us to continually renew our covenant and to put love into action and to live out the community of love and justice we aim to be. Please rise in body or spirit and remain rising for our opening hymn as Ada lights our chalice, and we say these adapted chalice lighting words from James Villa Blake, the same words we have spoken since 1903. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. We will now sing our opening hymn, number 231 in your gray hymnal, Angels We Have Heard on High.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains inward glide, echoing their joyous strains. Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why these songs of happy cheer? What great brightness did you see? What glad tidings did you hear? In excelsis Deo, in excelsis Deo. Singing on winter lake, only angels praise above. Mary, Joseph, lend your aid, while we raise our hearts in love. In excelsis
You may be seated. Thank you.
The queens came late, but the queens were there, with gifts in their hands and crowns in their hair. They'd come, these three, like the kings from far, following, yes, that guiding star. They left their ladles, their linens, their looms, their children playing in nursery rooms, and told their sitters, take charge.
For this is a marvelous sight we must not miss. The queens came late, but not too late, to see the animals, small and great.
Feathered and furred, domestic and wild, gathered to gaze at a mother and child.
And rather than frankincense and myrrh,
And gold for the babe they brought for her who held him, a homespun gown of blue.
and chicken soup with noodles too, and a lingering, lasting cradle song.
The queens came late and stayed not long, for their thoughts already were straining far, past major and mother and guiding star, and a child aglow as a morning sun, toward home and children and chores undone. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together Feliz Navidad with song leaders Jenny Umibe, Marianne Matthews, Rich Atwater, and Teresa Quay, and Liz Elmore on piano. Thank you.
Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, prospero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, prospero año y felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, prospero año de felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Oh.
And while this is a joyous season for many, there is a sorrow here at All Souls. We have lost All Souls member Mary Branson, who died this week at the age of 97. She was living in West Lafayette near her daughter, Sarah Branson Primo. All four of her daughters grew up here at All Souls. Mary was a very important part of this church for many, many years. Her contributions were numerous. When I first came with my very small sons, she was the RE director. She was one of the first women presidents of this congregation. She and her husband, Bob, were married for over 62 years. And Mary was here for over 70. A service remembering her will be held in early spring, and her ashes will be spread in our memorial garden. Our thoughts are with her and her family, her numerous grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and her devoted daughters are in our hearts. And we will miss her. The Camel Reading by Lynn Unger. Of course, they never consulted us. They were wise men, kings, star readers. We were merely the transportation. They simply loaded us with gifts and turned us towards the star. I ask you, what would a king know about getting gifts for a baby? Baby born to such simple folks. Have they ever seen a baby without pretension, so open to the wind? What would a child care for perfume and gold? Far better to have asked one born in the desert, tested by wind and sand. We saw what he would need, the gift of perseverance, of continuing on the hard way, of making do with what there is, living on what you have inside, the gift of holding up under a burden, of lifting another with grace, of kneeling to accept the weight of what you must bear. Our footsteps could have rocked him with the rhythm of the road, shown him comfort in a harsh land, the dignity of continually moving forward. But the wise men were not wise enough to ask. They simply left their trinkets and admired the rustic view. Before you knew it, we were turned towards home, carrying men only half willing to be amazed. But never mind. We saw the baby, felt him reach for the bright tassels of our gear. We desert amblers have our ways of seeing what you chatterers must miss. The child at heart knows something about following a star. Our gifts are given, have no doubt. His life will bear the print of who we are. And now Rex Martin is going to perform his song that he has written of this Christmas Day.
This Christmas Day, the gifts of love we share with blessings unaware. Come what may, somewhere lies a child alone and forgotten, far away. Give him hope so that he knows there is a way. He'll find a home someday. This Christmas Day, a refugee is born to poverty and scorn, 1,000 miles away. Walking to freedom, where will she go? Where will she stay? Open up your door, a bed safe and warm, haven from the storm, giving her the strength to believe.
this Christmas day. Lay down your arms, lift up your voices, all as one to say, there will be peace on our earthly home someday. Join us now, it's never too late, abolishing all hate, arm in arm with might and grace.
We would like to offer you now a couple of readings from the scriptures, the Bible. The first is from the Old Testament, from the prophet Micah. But you, O Bethlehem, who are little amongst the clans of Judah, from you shall come forth one who is to be ruler in Israel, whose origin is from old, from ancient days. And he shall stand and feed his flock in the strength of the Lord, in the majesty of the house of the Lord his God. And they shall dwell secure, for now he shall be great to the ends of the earth. The second reading is from the New Testament, from the Gospel of Luke. In the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God to a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin betrothed to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. And the Gabriel came to her and said, "Hail, O favored one, the Lord is with you." But she was greatly troubled at the saying and considered in her mind what sort of greeting that might be. And the angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God, and behold, you will bear a son, and you shall call him Jesus. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be enrolled. This was the first enrollment when Quirinius was governor of Syria, and all went to be enrolled, each to his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, the city of Nazareth, to Judea, the city of David, to be enrolled with Mary, his betrothed. Because of crowded conditions, there was no place for them in the inn. Joseph and Mary could find shelter only in a stable. And while they were there, the time came for her to be delivered. And she gave birth to her firstborn son, wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger. I invite you to stand as you are able and to join our choir in singing "O Holy Night." The words are printed in your order of service.
It is the night of our dear Savior.
Sandy Ryberg isn't with us tonight, and I want to share with you a little something different. Okay. Thank you. Never know when feedback will happen, right? It is a glorious night, a night of hope, a night of promise, and a night of storytelling, and we are, after all, a storied people. Our history and many traditions is often passed down orally or written for each generation to share and remember. We storytell for all ages, around tables, in nature, fire circles, in books, in sanctuaries, and other religious houses of worship, in movies, in plays, and we are always learning what to do and what not to do from these tales that we share. Tonight we share the Christmas story again through the lenses of many different beings. We've heard from the queens and the camels, and we've listened to some more traditional scriptures that you might be familiar with, yet we have not heard from the Gospel of Mary, a non-canonical text that was unearthed in the late 1800s. So I share with you this story from the Gospel of Mary, and it was translated by Miriam Therese Winter. When Mary returned to Nazareth, it was evident that she was with child. Joseph, a sensitive man, was unwilling to expose her to public disgrace and had decided to dismiss her quietly, for he could not go through with the marriage. And just as he was about to break their engagement, an angel appeared to him in a dream saying, "Joseph, of the lineage of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife. For the child in her is God's child. She will bear a son whose name will be Jesus, and he is one whom God has promised." When Joseph awoke, he changed his plans and did as the angel had commanded, taking Mary as his wife. They agreed to live as brother and sister until after the birth of the child. Let's just take that in for a minute. As Mary's time for delivery drew near, a decree was issued calling for a census. Mary went with Joseph to his own town where he had to go to be registered. They traveled from Nazareth in Galilee to Bethlehem in Judea because this was the city of David. While they were there, Mary gave birth to a baby boy. She wrapped him warmly in homespun cloth and laid him in a manger, for there was not room for them in the inn. What do you notice in this recollection of events that strangely didn't make it in to the major canon? In the Gospel of Mary, we can pick up many threads of shame, patriarchy, fear, empire, forced migration even. We must remember all aspects of the stories we tell and be present to as many voices as possible in the retelling, lest we think that one voice is the true voice. Let us rise in body or spirit as we sing together, "It Came Upon a Midnight Clear."
From
Christmas Eve is always that time when I become painfully aware of how many times I'm singing Christmas songs going, because I forget the words. So for song leaders, we give thanks. Thank you. I bring you yet another thing to consider this Christmas Eve, and these adapted words of Quinn Caldwell in their writing, What Are You Here For? If you came to this place expecting a tame story, you came to the wrong place. If you came for a story that does not threaten you, you came for a different story than the one we tell. If you came here to hear of the coming of a God who only showed up so that you could have a nice day with your loved ones, then you came for a God whom we do not worship here. For even a regular baby is not a tame thing, and a goodness that cannot threaten complacency and evil is not much good at all. And a God who would choose to give up power and invincibility to become an infant for you certainly didn't do it just so that we could have dinner. But if you came because you think that an unwed teenage mother is one of the strongest people in the world, if you came because you think that the kind of people who work third shift doing stuff others would rather not do might attract an angel's attention before someone snoring comfortably in their bed would, if you came because you think that there are wise people to be found among undocumented travelers from far lands and that they might be able to show you God, if you came to hear a story of a tyrant's trembling while heaven comes to peasants, if you came because you believe that God loves the animals as much as the people and so made them the first witnesses to saving the world, if you came for a story of reversals that might end up reversing you, if you came for a tale of adventure and bravery where strong and gentle people win and the powerful and violent go down in dust, where the rich lose their money but find their lives and the poor are raised up like kings. If you came to be reminded that God loves you too much to leave you unchanged, if you came to follow the light even if the brightness feels too much to bear, if you came for salvation and not safety, then my friends, you have come to the right place. Caldwell's words speak to us and remind us to remember all of the story, the complexity of life and the many flavors of it, the bitter, the challenging, the heart-wrenching, the joyful, the resilient, the salty, the unjust, and the sweet. This time of year is a time of joy and hope, yes. But joy and hope without the rest that life has to offer is dessert without dinner. Do we do dessert without dinner? Maybe sometimes. But we can't do that all the time. We need nutrition because sweets alone is excessive, nauseating, and in some cases deadly. As we hold the holiday story this year, let us remember that more than 200 people so far this year have died by violence in Indianapolis. Fox News shared this statistic on December 1st, and since there are often shootings every weekend in Indianapolis, I suspect that number is higher. This is the third year in a row and the third time in history that Indianapolis has reached such high numbers in violent deaths. Indiana University, their Policy Institute, reported in 2021 that there was a 21.4% increase in homelessness in Indianapolis, sharing that nearly 2,000 people in the area around our church, so in Indianapolis, around this place where we are toasty and warm, nearly 2,000 people are without housing. Reproductive justice and marriage equality are threatened, while it also becomes easier to purchase automatic weapons. A June 2022 political article revealed that 1 in 3 people held at the borders of our country are children. I repeat, children are still being held at the borders. Families are still being separated at the border, and for-profit detention centers continue to thrive. That has not changed with the change in administrations. The Human Rights Campaign has tracked at least 35 deaths of trans beloved kin by violence this year so far. And since the start of COVID, a wave of mental health crisis like this country has not seen before began to rise, and it has not yet crested. We remain in the swell of this crisis. People of all ages are having rising rates of anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation, feelings of isolation, and more. And let us not forget about our climate. The wildfires, the floods, the droughts. And if we believe what climate scientists are saying, there will be other pandemics, still more floods, fires, droughts, mass devastation that will force mass migrations. I cannot offer you a simple solution to these interconnected and nested problems which are tied up with white supremacy culture, systemic oppressions, colonialism, American exceptionalism, sexism, ableism, and all kinds of unchecked oppressions and consumerism. I can't promise you that it is the work of one child to fix or one generation, because as Unitarian Universalists, our theologist teaches us not only that each child born is holy, but that is not up to one being or one anything. In fact, we know as Unitarian Universalists that it is up to us as community to save each other in solidarity in this life, and not necessarily to look to an afterlife for things to be better. It's up to us to make it better here and now, as long as we are here. In this messy, interconnected world where the media pushes us farther apart, rather than pushing us to tables where we can break bread and learn each other's sides of the story, becoming united in anything in this climate, it's not simple. And we need all generations right now to fix what generations before us have broken. So while I can't offer you simple solutions, what I can offer you this night is hope in the work of revolutionary love. It's not work that can be done for others or for us, but work we must do first within our own hearts, our own homes, our own communities, seeking transformation within and with others as we create this changing world and become that change that we are seeking. Imagine if the innkeeper had looked at that family, that sweet family, exhausted from travel, preparing to bring a child into the world, and thought that this family is my family. They are a part of me. Would they have shut the door? Would the babe have been born in a manger? For those of us with family at the border, we know the pain of separation. For others, how will we let the parts of ourselves needing sanctuary in this country into the inn? Who are we willing to become to strengthen community, to gather around tables and story tell and hear the other perspectives of our sacred stories, so we know more of the full story and less of one single story? And as we recall the story of this sweet child born humbly, let us also lift up the story of the child that became a man who flipped over the tables of the money changers in the temples and preached about love for all people, to all people. I invite us to learn from the life of Jesus, to hold each other tightly this night, to celebrate the discomfort in our bodies and see it as a light of hope, perhaps a gestating child of hope seeking to be born or shine more brightly on a path that we cannot pave without embracing spiritual and practical tools to radically welcome the stranger within ourselves and our communities so that we can be united in community to save this world together. I invite us to return to the words of Gretchen Haley this night. If we will take the journey to Bethlehem, if we will be changed by the presence of a love that meets us where we are in the fields, wherever we lay, and calls us forth into a new journey and a braver, bolder life, believing that it is not too late for strong and gentle people to win, for compassion and truth to have that final say, for the bright light of hope to shine through even on the darkest night. Let us become the good news of Christmas this year, all year, every year. May it be so. Feliz Navidad. Merry Christmas. Amen. And blessed be. Each year on Christmas Eve, it is a tradition in many Unitarian Universalist congregations to have a give the plate to the minister's discretionary fund. This fund carries us throughout the year. It's the fund that we utilize in order to provide gift cards for food, for gas, for bus tickets. It is the fund that we utilize when someone is about to lose their electricity or their gas, or they're falling behind on rent, or if they don't make that car insurance payment, they will lose their car insurance, they can't get to work. This fund is crucial in the lives of our All Souls community and also in the surrounding community, as our neighbors sometimes come here knowing that this is a safe, welcoming place for all people, and we are able to share generously. And the growth of this fund is dependent upon the giving of our community and the larger community. So tonight's offering will be received for this fund. If you can contribute, it would be greatly appreciated. You can gift cash or check into the collection plate, or if you're online, you can go to allsoulsindy.org and find the link that says Give to All Souls here. Thank you all for your generosity in supporting the work that All Souls does within our walls and beyond them. This evening's offering will now be gratefully received. Thank you, Liz. We've come to the time in our service when amid the growing dark, we kindle a flame and pass the light from one another to one another. A time to ponder, this is, a time to ponder and reflect before we sing Silent Night, which will happen after we are all in position and the lights have gone off. So in just a moment, we'll invite you to rise in body or spirit with your lyrics and to create a circle around the congregation. You are also welcome to remain seated exactly where you are, and we will make sure the light finds its way to you.
We will light a candle from the chalice, you figured it out, and bring it to the community. Once the first candles are lit, we invite you to spread the light down the row and in the circle. For safety, please hold lit candles like John's upright and tip your unlit candle over to light it like that. Make sense? Got it? Perfect. We ask that parents help their children in lighting their candles. If need be, there is water at the side of the worship space. I now invite the ushers to come forward to assist in spreading the light from one to another.
And at this time, I'd like to invite everyone to please move to the sides of the sanctuary if you feel called to begin to create a circle as Sarah and I share some words with you.
Blessed are the stars of the wintry night that sprinkle the heavens with their lustrous and far-shining light.
Blessed is the moon that seems like a lovely maiden traveling in the fields of sky clothed in wondrous golden light.
Blessed is the sun with its great brightness, circling the seasons and bringing the benediction of ever-renewed life to the earth.
Blessed are the hearth fires, the candles, and the lamps that hallow our homes and make a glow of beauty within the surrounding shadows.
Blessed is the light within everyone, the imperishable flame of the human spirit, touched into being by the eternal light that calls forth our deeper humanity.
And blessed is the imagination that dares to see today tomorrow's peace on earth and goodwill toward all. And now there glows the light where all was shadow before. You may turn out the lights. notice that it gets a little bit brighter in the sanctuary. While the light that we hold held close illuminates us, when we join our lights together, we light not only the sanctuary, but the light inside of us, untouched by human harm, that grace that we are born with, that our universalist theological ancestors say is our birthright, remains brighter than anything. So as we seek to become Christmas year-round, may we let that light shine and join it with others, illuminating the world. We may turn on the sanctuary lights and blow out our candles. I invite you now to remain risen as we sing together, Deck the Halls.